Hello everyone, this is Mr. Navratil here. Today I'm going to be covering how to create the 3D printed keychain design in Onshape. Here's an example that I created myself. I have my last name here and a little bit of like a hammer graphic that I've extruded, and also a hole for the actual keychain aspect. So we're going to cover how to create these with all the constraints and sizes. I'm going to hit the Onshape button to go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to hit Create Document. Now we are going to name this our first and last name so that it becomes easier when 3D printing time happens. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. This is going to bring up a blank document for us. Now the design on the inside of the keychain is totally up to you, but the size of the keychain is constrained. So we're going to hit the sketch tool here. We're going to click on the top plane. We're going to change our view right here on the view cube to the top so we can look at it straight on. I'm then going to use the rectangle tool to click and drag a rectangle in. The size of the rectangle has to be 1 by 2.75. So I'm going to hit the dimension tool. I'm going to come down and hit the side once, click over. We're going to change that to 1 inch. And then I'm going to come up, click the top, and click that at 2.75 inches. Now you can make a smaller keychain if you want. You just cannot make one that is larger. So we're done drawing. I'm going to hit the check mark here. Change our view a little bit so we can see what's going on. We're going to click on extrude, and this is going to allow us to add some depth. Now this is currently set to 1 inch. Your keychain may not be any thicker than 0.125 inches. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there and then click the green check mark. So there's kind of a blank canvas. From here there's only a couple other things that we're going to be doing. First off, let's take care of the hole. So I'm going to hit the sketch tool. I'm going to click on the front of this. We'll change our view again. And it doesn't really matter where you put your hole for the keychain as long as it's kind of on the outside of the actual body. And the reason for that is it's going to act or to allow you to actually have a keychain. If you put the hole in the center, you won't be able to add that to any keyring. I'm going to put mine in the top left, so I'm just going to draw a circle. There's a couple things that we do need to take care of dimension-wise for this hole. I'm going to hit the dimension tool. The circle should be 0.2 away from each side. So I'm going to click on the center, I'm going to click on the outside, I'm going to come up, and I'm going to change that to 0.2. I'm then going to click on the top, and I'm going to click on the center, and I'm going to go over, and that is also 0.2. The last thing we need to do is make sure that the circle itself, I'm going to click on the outside, is 0.2. And there you go. We're going to change the sketch mode back to 3D modeling, so we're going to click on the green check mark, change our view a little bit. We're going to want to extrude that hole, so we're going to click extrude. We'll click on the hole. We are not adding material to the front, we would like to remove it. So we'll change that option here. And we want to make sure that we're just setting it to the depth of the keychain. So in this case it is 0.125. And then we'll hit enter and hit OK. So that's the whole. At this point, it's really up to you what you want to do in terms of a design on the inside of the keychain. I did my last name and then a little graphic, so I'm going to show you how I did that. We're going to do a sketch, and we're going to click on the front. We'll change this to the top view and zoom in a little bit. We can use the text tool to add in text very easily instead of having to trace over anything. So I'm going to click on the text tool, and I'm just going to click and drag inside here. I'll type in my last name, and I'll hit the little check mark. Now as you can see, this is much larger than the keychain, and we need to change the size so that it fits on the inside. So to do that, we're going to use the dimension tool. So I'll click on the dimension tool. I'm going to click on one end of the text and the other end of the text, and we're going to change that actually to 2 so that it fits nice and snug on the inside. From here, if you hit escape to deselect your tool, you can click and drag the text wherever it is that you'd like it on your keychain. I am actually done now, and I'd like to extrude it, so I'm going to hit the green check mark. We'll change our view on the view cube, and we will look at extruding just the name. So I'll click on the text. Now this is very important. You cannot have anything extruding out of the keychain. Every part of the design that you're doing needs to be cut inside the keychain. And the reason for that is if we were trying to 3D print this standing up, it's going to create a whole bunch of support material that we don't need to print, essentially. So it'll be wasting a lot of plastic. So instead, we're going to cut in. So I'll hit remove. We also don't want to cut all the way through our keychain. So we're going to change this depth to 0.05, and we'll hit the enter key. Check that out. And then we can hit the green check mark. So as you can see, it's just indenting inside, but it's not going all the way through. That's very, very important. Okay, so I have my text now. I'd like to add the little graphic. So we're, again, going to hit the sketch tool. We'll click on the front. And we'll change our view. So we're looking at it kind of from the straightforward perspective. Now I'd like to add in the hammer picture so that I can do a little tracing. To do that, we're going to come up here next to this little icon, and we're going to click the little arrow, and we're going to say Insert Image. Now if you're on your Chromebook, this dialog box might pop up, but you might not be able to see this button right here, the Import button. If that's the case, you do need to change your Chromebook to full screen mode. There's a button on the top portion of the keyboard that will allow you to do that. Once you have, you should be able to hit the import button now. And I'm just going to bring in a picture of a little hammer that I have and hit open. This will upload that image. And once it is available, once it is uploaded, it should pop up over here. Sometimes it might get caught in a little bit of a loop, and we have to wait a second. There we go. So it's uploaded, and now it's available over here for me to click on. So I will click on it, and I'm just going to click and drag how big I'd like the hammer to be. And that looks about right. And then I'm going to click and drag and kind of place the hammer where I'd like to trace over. That looks pretty good, and we're going to zoom in. Now because this has so many curved lines, we're going to use the spline tool here. I'll click on spline, and then I'm going to zoom in pretty far, and I will begin my tracing. Now as I'm going through this, if I was to be making this to 3D print, I would be spending much more time tracing this more accurately. But for the sake of timing, I'm just kind of clicking pretty roughly around the edges. But normally I would be clicking about, I'd say about 3 times as much. So we're going to get through the claw of the hammer here around the outside, and we're going to close that loop. Now it's very important to understand, you will not be able to extrude anything unless this is a complete loop. If there is any broken link somewhere, right, or a gap, you will not be able to extrude it. You can only ever extrude completed profiles. So I'm all set. I'm going to hit the check mark. We're going to change our view a little bit. Let's get back like that. We're going to hit the extrude tool, and I'll select both of those little profiles that I just created. Now again, we're not adding material. We are only engraving on the inside. So I'm going to hit remove. We're going to come down and we're going to do 0.05 again, hit enter, and then hit the check mark. And there you have it. Looking pretty good. Now there's a couple other features I wanted to share just in case you wanted to use them in your design. They are here. It is the fillet tool and the chamfer tool. Both of these are going to allow you to modify edges on your keychain very easily. We're going to start with the fillet tool. Right now it's set to 0.2 as a radius, and all you have to do is just go around and click on the corners, and it will automatically add in a rounded edge, just like that. Now you can change the size of the radius so that it's larger or smaller, however you see fit. So that's rounded edges. The chamfer tool is very similar, but instead of rounded edges, it creates flat edges, just like that. Again, you can go around and just click on each corner. We can also change the size of this. Instead of 0.05, we could do 0.1, 0.2, so on and so forth. And all you have to do is hit the check mark, and you'll be good to go. So that's how to create the 3D printed keychain design in Onshape. Thanks for watching.